All right. So come over here, James. Check this out. This is almost 4 cups of our stock, and you can see again. All I've been doing is ladling in, a little bit at a time, and there you can see it was pretty much all absorbed, so it's good to go. So in goes just a little bit more broth now. Something to remember as you're trying to figure out, is this done, is it not? You can see how much it's risen up. Taste a little bit. Just take it off the back of your spoon and taste it, and think, okay, is it still a little brittle? Which this is. It's got a little bit further to go.
Al dente?
Well, al dente is a great cooking term there, James. It actually means tooth, like of the tooth. It has a little bite to it. This is what that is, but with risotto and I guess borio rice to begin with, it's brittle even. So it will sort of break apart, and it won't be soft, and it won't be like rice that you're used to. You can see it from stirring it for the last 20 minutes. It's got this creamy sort of starchiness, and that's what happens basically with this rice. It literally is breaking, and bits of the flour are coming off and thickening it and creating this incredible, delicious sauce. So we're going to keep stirring this. In the meantime, what we're going to do is make sure that our chicken strips, these are already cooked, it's a total cheater recipe again, are ready to go and warm. So again, a little olive oil. This is just an old crummy pan, just making sure nothing sticks. Heat it up, and we'll throw those in a second. I took our frozen peas. This is just hot tap water, literally right out of the tap water. I'm getting it so they're no longer frozen and they're ready to go. Sort of the idea being, we're going to throw these in right at the last minute. They're not really going to need to cook the way that you think of, vegetables need to cook so much. I mean, peas actually are, fine raw, and the less you cook things, actually, the more nutrition you get out of them when it comes to vegetables. So why overdo it? A little more stock left. You can see, again, just come back over here. It's kind of absorbed in a little bit. So we're just going to keep that going, keep stirring it. We're doing dinner tonight for just James and I here, but we're going to have leftovers, so we're going to do a little more.
Nice.
Like
very nice.
These, again, we're just reheating. So this is a total, we lost somebody.
Watch your finger there.
Yep, get him. Okay. For all you say you can't cook, you can't. If it starts smoking, if it starts bubbling over, you turn down the heat. That's it. You just keep your eye on it. I think people who can't cook, it's sort of a cop-out. Because this is all you're doing, is going like this. Anybody can do this. Also, in the interim, you can see if you get really close here, a couple little red flakes. I put in some crushed red pepper, and while I was toasting this, before I put any liquid in at all, I put in some butter, about a tablespoon. Probably less than you would, well, at least half a tablespoon might be less than we would put on our toast in the morning, or,
Work better without the surface light.
On a bagel. Oh, we're going to lose the surface light?
Yeah, actually.
Alright, well, sure doesn't help me, but that's alright. And again, we're just going to make sure these don't get too far ahead of themselves, and keep stirring. You can see just huge amounts of onion. So a little butter, a little crushed red pepper, and we're going to keep tasting and see when is this ready. Well, it's getting close. Chicken stock, again, such an amazing ingredient because it adds so much flavor. You wouldn't want to just use water. You want it to taste a bit like the stock. I can taste already it needs a little bit more salt and pepper. So just shake of that in there. See what you got. A little more pepper. And that ought to be good. Alright.
Smells delicious.
Yeah, well it should. There's a lot of good things in here. And these are just going to continue heating up. Sliding around the pan there. The last thing that we're going to do is when I feel like this has gotten, really ready. You can see again, we're all absorbed there. It's still got a nice creaminess to it, but there's no sort of liquid, draining into the pan. So we're going to do our last bit of liquid here, and it goes. And when that's absorbed, we'll hope that it's all good. Now there's a whole box of chicken stock in there, so there's plenty of flavor. If we don't feel like we're getting the texture that we want, we'll just use water. Or if you have another box of chicken stock that you're going to use later, you could definitely use that as well. But water's not going to hurt you at this stage. You're just looking to get sort of a doneness of the rice. I'll turn it up just a little if we're against the clock. So worst case scenario, again, all we're going to end up doing is at the last minute when we feel the rice is cooked, we're going to throw the peas in on top so that they're going to do that last stage of cooking. Actually, no, I should say we're going to fold the parmesan in first. Parmesan first. We're going to do probably probably half of what's in this, just because, again, that's a lot of flavor. And, again, maybe I should have taken a quick second to not re-salt, because Parmesan cheese is full of salt. So, you know, if it's at this stage, it's tasting sort of like, you know, maybe need some salt, maybe wait until you put the Parmesan in. So, there you go. Learning on the fly. But these are browning up sort of nicely, but they're still kind of not there yet. So, we're going to keep them going. We try not to move them too much. Some of them are still stuck together, but they'll get some nice caramelization going on. Caramelization is basically when you have foods browning. The sugars come out, the water draws out, and they get that ability to sort of cook. And that's what you're looking for. And, you know, generally speaking, in food, you know, brown equals flavor. And that's something I try and tell a lot of people a lot of the times. Brown equals flavor. It's not always the best color, but that's why you sort of change things up. It's another good thing to think about. We've got our main portion here is rice. It's all completely white or sort of a cream color. Chicken is white with brown whatever. That's why the peas become so important, because you want something to actually pop on the plate, and you eat with your eyes first. So the green peas are going to be sort of stuck in there in different places and really make it appealing to look at before you eat it. And then, of course, hopefully it should taste really delicious. Something that might be good with this at the end, you know, you could do, you know, sort of sprig of Italian parsley or something like that on top, just, again, for additional color. But for the most part, hopefully the peas are going to do it. We're actually going to reserve just a few of these to put right on top at the end for the presentation of the whole thing. I'm just not sure if we're going to have time to do it, because the rice is just taking a good bit longer tonight than we thought it would, and that's all right. It's cooking up nicely, but it'll be done when it's done, and again, you'll know it, because you'll be able to just take one of these pieces off, and we're practically there. I mean, it's so close. That's for the sake. How much time do we have, James?
We're up to 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
Boy, all right. Well, hopefully it's
Be nice to show the presentation if possible.
Well, I think it would be nice to have it taste better there. So let's get some cheese stirred in here. Again, this is Parmesan cheese. You know, it says freshly grated. If you have your own, great, use that. So about half of that container. Start stirring it in, and this is really going to thicken up. You're going to see that almost immediately. Just become cheesy and absolutely wonderful. So we're just stirring that in. You'll be able to see that there, and again, we are so close on everything. The chicken here looking really nice and brown. Got some extra flavor there. That's definitely, it's pre-cooked, so all we're really looking to do is just
warm it up and brown it.
Warm it up and brown it. That's exactly right.
8 minutes and 18 seconds.
All right. I don't know if we're going to get in there.
That's all right. We don't have to.
Might have to just do a picture at the end of this one, because I don't want to. You never really want to serve food that you don't think you've done your best job on. That's another good thing. If you're cooking for people, and you say you want to try this recipe out, it looks really easy. You know, give it a try at home first. It's going to take an extra half hour, and you know, just spend a little extra money. You'll have dinner regardless, and you'll probably like it because you made it. If you make the food, you're going to find you really, really enjoy the way it tastes, I'm sure. And here we go. Cheese is in. I tell you, it's pretty great.